featherweight contender Mikey Garcia. Mikey, there's been a lot of talk lately about a possible fight with Orlando Salido, maybe in October, November. What are your thoughts on that fight? How much would you like a fight like that?
Well, I would love to fight for a world title. We were trying to get a fight, with Elio for his title, but that's not happening. So we're just trying to see if we can get something else. And it seems like Salido might be the champion to give me an opportunity. So I definitely want that fight. I feel it's a very tough opponent champion. Very very good champion. So we need to get ready and hope for the best. Hope that we become victorious. But nothing is really signed yet or nothing like that to confirm anything. It's just talks that we've been talking to them before, and people have agreed to talk about it more as the date come together or something like that. Especially after tonight, hopefully he does well and no injuries, no cuts, nothing like that. But I would definitely want to fight him.
And it looked like the Celestino Caballero fight was going to happen. Then the date got moved back, and then it got canceled. Was it hard for you to see that fight kind of go away when it looked like you were so close to having it?
Yeah, I got a little disappointed because as a fighter, that's what every young fighter dreams of. Fighting for a world title and getting that title shot, especially in my spot right now, rank #1 in the world and trying to get those title fights. That's what it's all about right now. And we had signed the contract, everything was ready to go, and then, week after week they kept changing dates and venue and back and forth. And when I heard it finally got canceled, I was disappointed. But I also know that sometimes it's more politics and business than it is about the sport or about the fighter being afraid. I don't think Caballero's afraid, and I never said anything like that. And I'm not afraid either to fight anybody. But sometimes the matchmakers or promoters or whatever, they have different business issues that they have to worry about before putting on the show, and I understand that part. So I just have to hope that we get another title shot and hopefully, we get that Salido fight.
And a fighter like Orlando Salido, he's a really good pressure fighter. He, really aggressive. Is that a kind of fight to where you like that style, to where you feel you can work off of it? Or, how would you describe kind of his style and how you would face him?
Well, we would have to look at a few more tapes on him. I've seen him, in the past, but I haven't studied him to prepare for a fight against him. I've seen him, but I haven't really studied him to get ready for a fight. What I've seen is that he does put a lot of pressure. He is dangerous with both hands. He carries good power. He never gives up. He keeps coming forward and looking for those big shots. So it's always going to be a dangerous fight. It's always going to be a danger fighting him. But I think I have skills to beat him. I think I have the abilities and the youth and the hunger behind me to show and prove myself. So I think I have more than enough to win.
And fighter Nonito Donaire, he works with your brother Robert Garcia. They're talking about him and Jorge Arce possibly in October. What do you think of that fight?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a good fight for Donaire. I think there's Arce has been, trying to get Donaire for quite some time now. He's been calling him out, and, Donaire's not afraid either. It just happens to be, like I said, a matter of business and negotiation issue. And it seems like they might get it on this time around. Arce has been, a tough warrior, for the past 10 years. So it's going to be a challenge for Donaire. Being that they're fighting now, even though they're fighting at a higher weight class, as long as even Arce is fighting at a higher weight class, but they still have enough to give a good show. I think Donaire, however, is probably the smarter, more complete fighter, and I think that's what's going to allow him to win. He's got good skills and speed and power, and just overall, I think a better fighter than Arce is.
And you told me once that because Donaire works with your brother, that if he goes to featherweight, that you probably never would really face him. Is that still true? Is that something to where that's a fight that you probably wouldn't consider in the future?
Well, it just happens that, you know, if my brother's working with him, I don't think, you know, my brother would want that fight, you know, being that we both are my brother's fighters. But if the time came, you know, where it talks about a fight between me and Donaire, you know, or being talked about and stuff, you know, if it's the fight that people want to see and that the promoter wants to put on, you know, what my brother would most likely do is tell Donaire to get another trainer. You know, I don't think my brother's gonna, you know, have us fight each other while he's still training Donaire. What he would probably tell him is to get another trainer. And if he decides to get another trainer, and he wants to fight, and I'm there still in the division, and you know, people want to see the fight, then yes, we'll do the fight. You know, that's not any problem. You know, like I said, I don't think there's a fighter there that's gonna be afraid to fight me, or that I'm gonna be afraid to fight any fighter. It just happens to be, you know, negotiation and business, and you know, we can do any fight out there as long as everybody agrees on the contracts, and that's it. We can get it on.
Thanks. And last thing I was going to ask about a fighter in your division who's creating some buzz is Gary Russell Jr. He fought last month, you know, on Showtime, scored a pretty quick knockout, really fast fighter. Have you had a chance to see a lot of Gary Russell, and do you have any thoughts on him?
I did see his best fight. Well, he definitely has fast hands. He seems to have good power. He's got a lot of experience from his amateur, so that helps him a lot with his fights. Because that he does have a lot of experience, even though he doesn't have as many professional fights. Then he had a lot of experience in the amateur, so that definitely helps him. But he's you know, coming strong. He's up and coming, and you know, he's someone to look out for. He's definitely got a lot of talent. He can do big things as well. If we happen to be in the same division still, and you know, like I said, it's a title fight or unification fight or something like that, then of course we're open to more about it. Right now, he's just Golden Boy for, you know, our numbers top ranked, so those fights are not really likely to happen right now between the two promoters. But yeah, anything can change. You know, anything can change from one fight to the next. You know, 6 months from now, who knows? Maybe things will change and fights will start happening between both again. So.
And
yeah, we don't know.
And when you have a fighter who has, you know, really good speed and he's quick, what's the best way to kind of take away their advantages in speed? Like, how do you approach a challenge like that?
Well, it's just kind of, you have to look for their flaws more than what their biggest attributes are. They may be real fast, you know, with their hand speed, but they may leave themselves open, so you got to try to do something about that. Or they may be sloppy, or you know, they may not know how to fight back. Or even though they're fast, you can probably outbox them just by keeping them away with the jab. Their height, you know, you got to take, you know, in consideration more than just their hand speed. You really got to study them more, and it's what my strengths are and what I can do. But there's different ways you can fight, you know, different for each, you know, fighter, just depending on the opponent, on the fight itself.
Got you. Well, thanks a lot for your time, Mikey. We appreciate it, man, and good luck. We'll talk to you soon, bro.
Thanks, Chris. Anytime.
All right.